Welcome to the Traders Clinic, your regular shot in the arm of trader insights, philosophy and knowledge, brought to you by two professional money managers, Ali Crooks and Charlie Burton.
In every episode, we cover all things from the world of trading and answer your burning trading questions.
Indeed.
Welcome back, mate.
Yeah, likewise. It's been a long time.
It has, hasn't it? So here we go. So I've been really looking forward to this one, and I think this is the one we can really get our teeth into. And this is really, again, it's a statement, but it has underlying elements to the questions that we receive from people. And this statement is the biggest misconception in trading.
Yes. I think personally, I've been training traders now for over 20 years. And one of the biggest misconceptions I believe in trading, don't get me wrong, there's lots. But one is this misconception that people think they need to day trade in order to make the returns. Well, if I day trade, then I'm trading every day. So surely I'm going to make bigger returns from day trading, from short-term trading. And I think that's one of the biggest myths and misconceptions. It's such a weird one, though, because one would think that it would make sense. Trade frequency should equal greater returns. So yes, but, and there is a big but with this, that with intraday trading, really you should be risking less per trade. So although the potential to make bigger returns is there, those should be doled down because you should be risking less. So why should you risk less per trade? Because of the intensity of intraday trading. There's been a lot of work done with traders, and within the first 2 years, the mental fatigue starts to creep in. You don't feel it physically, but mental fatigue is. So it becomes more difficult to follow your plan, not to get engrossed in all of the movement that's going on and all those things that basically end up corrupting you, and you end up taking that trade at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Oh, why did I take that trade at 3 o'clock in the afternoon? It's upset my whole day now, and all that. So really, because of fatigue and then the pressure of trading at a higher risk per trade, if you were to do that, then that creates greater volatility of returns. The bigger the volatility of returns, the more it affects you psychologically, the more that impacts, and it goes on into the circle of your entire trading. So you need to actually reduce the risk per trade so that you're desensitizing yourself to the movements and all of that, which means that ultimately you'll trade better. But it also means that you won't make those incredible returns that you think you're going to make. You don't get me wrong, you can make amazing returns from intraday trading, but it's a myth, it's a misconception that intraday trading, sitting there every day, you're going to be more profitable than a swing trader trading off of 4-hour charts.
I got asked a question on this, and I'm going to ask you it, is, however, do you think that the best intraday traders do better in returns return-wise than the best swing traders?
Oh, God.
I knew.
Good question. Because I've been both, and I've been that day trader. I've won competitions with, competitions just on a single day. But I've done challenges as an intraday trader. I've intraday traded through the great financial crisis. So I have been there and I've done all of that stuff. But I'm going to be biased because this is how I trade now. But I'd still say that a great swing trader will be more profitable than a great day trader. Because a great swing trader has the ability to get into a swing trade and milk it and rinse it and ride it and add to it. And a great swing trade, you could make the kinds of returns that basically on a single trade, that could make your year on a single trade. A day trader can't possibly do that on a single trade because by definition, they have to be in and out in the same day. So don't get me wrong, a intraday trader could have maybe more smoother returns potentially because their trade frequency can smoothen out to an extent. But do I think that a day trader is going to be more profitable than a swing trader? Having done it, and that's only my personal experience, but I've also trained a lot of traders over the years now as well, met a lot of traders like you have, I would say that swing trading still is more profitable.
Absolutely. I think there's two elements. It's still the wrong question, because I get where the question's coming from. It's like, yeah, but if I can get into the 1% of successful day traders, I could make more than the top swing traders. Yeah, but there's a smaller pool of day traders at that level. So that 1% is a smaller number of traders than the 1% of swing. So I would look at it and say, I would rather make less, but be trading something that has a greater chance of success, especially if I'm new to this. Especially if I'm
covered that.
Exactly. So I think it's the wrong question. I get where the question is coming from, but it's actually look at the probabilities of success based on the numbers, and then, like you alluded to, look at the practical application. I always talk about the differential between trade 2 and trade 3 as a day trader. There might be 5 or 10 minutes between those setups. So you've had, losing trade 1 at 9:30, losing trade 2 at 9:45, and then, just before 10 o'clock, your next trade is coming along. Now, if that trade fully meets your criteria, but you haven't actually got over the fact you've had 2 losses that morning, and then you're asking yourself, should I have taken both of those trades this morning? Were they valid? Bang, you've got to take your next trade. So there's a very small window where you can get over or process the previous trades, be their losses, or the opposite. When you've had a winning day, do you then get trigger happy, which we've talked about in other episodes, because you've had 3 winning trades that day, you start over leveraging or doing things wrong. So the susceptibility to messing up or breaking rules is so much higher if your trade frequency per day or per week or per month is higher. And you're also in front of your screens for very intense periods of time. The market is, trying to lure you in because you're sitting staring at a 5-minute or a 15-minute chart. And I know there's different types of intraday trading, but the majority of people that I speak to are wanting to trade, 1 minute, 2 minute, 5-minute time frames, where the level of focus you need to do that is so great that it's like saying, I'm gonna with no training, I'm gonna go to the gym every day for 5 days out of that week. You're going to get fatigued very, very quickly, more not so physically, but mentally. So I look at it and say, why not look at it? What's the best way, or what are the odds suggesting are the best way that I could be successful to start with? And then if you can build that success as a swing trader, there's nothing to say you couldn't go and try day trading, but you've built that foundation of swing trading first.
Especially, as you've already said, newer traders. Newer traders are fragile anyway to the emotional aspects of trading, and that can take years to really, really get on top of. And yet they want to come straight in their very first month of trading, and they want to be day traders. And you've highlighted that really well, that, how do you get over a trade that you've only just come out of 10 minutes ago and you've got to go in again? And if you couple that with a fragility of mindset, nothing wrong with the individual, it's just that then they haven't built up the experience yet. So as you say, swing trade first, and then maybe further down the line, get into intraday trading, because it can act as there's 2 things with intraday trading. It can act as a diversification from your swing trading as well. But also, from a development perspective, you're accruing experience quicker with more trades. So there is an element there that because you're taking more trades, as long as you're doing it right, then your experience is growing. But it's on a knife edge. It really is. And so for most people, and it's not what people want to hear, because what they see is what's out there on social media, which is telling them the opposite. Yeah, look how much money I've made, and it's all nonsense. We are very lucky that we have established relationships with a lot of brokers. And I haven't been told by a single broker, oh yes, we have lots of clients who are making 1%, 2% a day. Nope, we don't get a single one. When we hear stories from our brokers about, they never tell us individual details, but they'll say, oh yeah, we've got, this client, he's made all this money. Where have they made it all? Usually, oh yeah, she, they bought a stock, bought a commodity or whatever it was, and they ran it. That is 100% always the story that I've heard over the last 20 years of dealing with brokers on a personal level and having those sorts of conversations with them. it's usually, don't get me wrong, they've got intraday traders that will plod along and they'll make money, but the big bucks is always the same story. Oh yes, this trader, they got in and they rode it and they've built it up over time, and that's how they made all their money. That's a little tip.
I think that's
a bit of guidance.
I think that's good. So we've covered a lot in terms of what, more so the intricacies of why it's probably better, or it is better to swing trade rather than day trade. What do you think, other than you mentioned, you touched on social media, what do you think are the other reasons why people are lured to day trading, especially when they've got zero experience?
Yeah. Instant gratification. It's that world we live in that we want results now. We need a result for where we are right now. We can't possibly wait, and yet, as we always use the analogy, you go into any career and it takes years to develop in a career. But I think that's why, and yet people think that in trading, well, I can just read a couple of books on my way sort of thing, and follow some guru or whatever on their volume, whatever they call it.
Volume profiling.
Yeah, right, okay. So
nothing wrong with that.
Whatever, they get into, and they just think that's the holy grail. So I think that unfortunately is it. There was a study done in California, one of the big universities, Stanford or whatever, and they did a study on day traders, and they did it over 5 years. And it was only about, I can't remember all the specifics now, I think it was about 1,000 traders, or was it 500? I can't remember, but it was over 5 years. And so they monitored them, or surveyed them at the beginning and at the end. And at the end of the 5 years, only 1% were successful. And so now that's a fairly small study group, but it's still enough to give us the general gist. So most people will quit. Now that could be they were probably going to quit anyway. So there's all of that going on, but it really gives you a sense of, do you want to go down that route, or do you want to just go down the delayed gratification route a bit more? It's this whole comfort zone stuff. People want to stay in their comfort zone. So if you've got two comfort zones, you've got this little circle here, and you've got a great big one over here. And that one, unfortunately, this one's your comfort zone. This one's not your comfort zone. What we need to be is we need to be putting ourselves over here. But a lot of people think, I just want to be in and out. I want to be in and out of a trade. I want to be in this little comfort zone. But that's the comfort zone that's going to lose you money.
Yes. Well, the one I hear that always makes me smile is, I don't want to be in a trade overnight because I won't be able to sleep. And
yeah.
Well, surely there's something that needs work if that is that's your justification for trading a trading style that has a lower chance of success. Oh, but I don't want to feel the pressure of holding a trade. So I think it's really interesting. The other thing I would say is that I think people feel that they need something to do. So they're used to, if I'm going to trade for a living, which again, probably a big leap from I've never traded to I want to trade for a living, they feel as though they need to be doing something. A lot of the traders I work with, I know that they would opt for, if they had the choice, they'd actually opt for day trading. The only reason they haven't is because their lifestyle, their job and their family commitments don't allow them. But if they were given free rein, they would actually go in that route because more trades, more money, I can do things more quickly. And it's greed. I think a lot of the time it's greed, and that's reinforced by what they're seeing on social media.
And I think there is an element, you've sort of touched on it, there is an element that people like to feel that they're doing something. So when you're sitting in a swing trade for 5 days, 2 weeks, whatever it is, longer, and that's it. You might be in 1 or 2 trades or whatever, but there's not a lot to do, once you're in your trades. And so I think a lot of people, especially in their early years, struggle with that to an extent as well, because they don't feel like they've earned it. Because when you're clicking away all day long, you feel like you've earned something. You've been doing stuff. Whereas when you're swing trading, the work is done in obviously identifying the trade in the first place, and then the rest of the work is sitting on your hands. It's being patient. It's waiting for that wave to come along when you're in from a surfing analogy, waiting, not trying to jump on every wave. And then when the wave does come along, you just got to ride it. There's nothing else to do. Just ride it. And I think that's difficult for people as well.
Yeah, I think so. Right, onto the next one. So this
is right.
Yeah, we've got a question here. So this question's come in. How do I break my addiction to winning?
Oh. Do you want to kick this one?
I can kick this off. There'll be multiple ways. I always say this, and it's you've got to acknowledge, and obviously you've got an awareness that you have an addiction to winning. But what does that addiction look like? So is that manifesting itself in, if you're having losing trades, you then feel the need to keep trading more because you want a winning trade, because having a winning trade makes you feel better, even though you've had 3 losers that have cost you 1% each, you have one winner that's made you 1%. So there's that angle. What does that winning look like? Does that winning mean you just simply want to win, or is it more subtle? Is it that you want to get your profits back by the end of the day, end of the week, end of the month? So it's not about just having a winning trade. It's about being up for the day. This was when I day traded. This was where I struggled. I wanted to get to the point where at the end of the day, I felt like I was up. Or the end of the week, I'd got something for my efforts. And it was realizing that arbitrary line in the sand, a day, a week, or a month, the market doesn't care about your result on a certain day or a certain point. So I think it's identifying what winning for that person. What do they mean by winning? Do they just mean winning trades at the expense of their risk to rewards, or do they mean winning as in being profitable at a certain point? Because once they identify that, they can look more specifically at what's causing it, the triggers.
I think it's inbred within us. Winning, it comes back to our primal drivers as well, flight or flight. If you lose, you're dead, so to speak. In thousands of years ago, 10,000, 20,000 years ago, because you could be in a situation whereby that animal might attack you, whatever. But also right the way through to where we are today. You go through school, you're taught to be right more as much as possible. Being right is good. Getting an 80% pass rate, 90% pass rate. So it's ingrained in us in life. And the skills that we develop for general life aren't transferable into trading. So we want to be right 80%, 90% of the time because we've been educated through the entire system that way. So then when we come to trading, we want to be right, winning as much as possible. And yet it just, we know that actually the most profitable ways of trading are not about being right that amount of time. In fact, one of the best things that people can take away is forget win rate, because people are obsessed with that. As soon as they come in, because no one likes to lose. And that's why, when people are new to trading, they don't want to lose. They want a higher win rate because they feel more comfortable having a series of winners rather than a series of losers and the occasional big winner. Look at your trading from a profit over maximum drawdown on a profit over maximum drawdown basis. So if your maximum drawdown is 10%, for argument's sake, then your overall profit at the end of the year, let's do this on a yearly basis. So let's say your drawdown was 10%. Obviously, you want your net profit to be greater than that. So let's say you made 20%. So you've got an overall 1 to 2 effectively risk versus reward. You've got an overall profit factor there. So I think profitability is the way that people should measure their success, not win rate. So because as you touched on, you could have a high win rate with an inverted risk reward and still be losing money. You could be, for every pound that you risk, you might only make 10p because you jump out your trades really quickly. And you can have 9 winners in a row and then give it all back and more on the 10th. So look at your overall profitability versus what you do lose. And that is the way to think about trading rather than thinking about being right.
Love that. And I think be aware, if you have this addiction, what's potentially feeding it? Are you buying into what you see online where people are saying, I can eliminate? I saw something on a literally on a website that said, I can eliminate, or we can help you eliminate all of your losing trades. People claiming a 95% win-loss ratio, win rate. I can show you a 90% win rate, 95%. I can show you a 100% win rate between June the 5th and July the 8th. But what about the rest of the year? And what I like is that by default, you were talking yearly terms. And I think that's the thing to be aware of as well, is your addiction to winning could simply be because you're looking to feel good in the day, feel good in the month, rather than looking at profit factor. And again, it's doing and forcing yourself to do and focus on the things that most people aren't. If the message is coming off social media all about win rate and profit per day and all of these things, think, right, I need to be focusing on profitability and thinking about that over a year, not over a short period.
I think you've just touched on the right thing again there, that ultimately look out there. I always say, look out there what the masses are doing. The masses are fixated with being right as much as possible. So do you want to be like the masses, or do you want to be on the road less traveled, but it's the right road to be traveling along? And so you need to be looking at probably lower win rate strategies, because that's not where the masses want to be. What are the masses? The masses lose money over the long run. They're the ones losing money. So if they're the ones losing money, but they're chasing win rates, okay, maybe I should be chasing profitability and lower win rates and spend my energy in developing that thick skin and that trader mindset to be able to deal with a lower win rate, but understanding that when I do win, they pay for the losses, etc.
Good. So yeah, I think I like that. Profitability and making sure that they pay for the losses. That's been another great show.
Nice one. Okay. His name's Ali Crooks.
His name's Charlie Burton.
Trade
safely out there.